Alright, welcome back to Low Quality Fight Picks. This time we're making picks for UFC Fight Night, Oliveira versus Gamrot. We've had a fight fall through on this card that I was very keen for. It was Walter Walker versus Muhammad Usman. So you will see it pop up on my sort of list of picks. Just imagine it isn't there. I did just record this and realized I was only recording audio, so we are running this again now. First fight up on the card, Luan Lacerda versus Simon Oliveira. I have picked Luan Lacerda. He's got very patient striking. He's going to capitalize off of Simon Oliveira's mistakes, and I do believe he's quite a bit tougher. If we have a look at the stats here, Luan Lacerda is taller. He's got a reach disadvantage, but he does have quite the higher output here. He does absorb a lot more damage, but I don't think Simon Oliveira is going to be able to put much on him. I think Luan Lacerda is going to set the pace from the start and just put it on Simon Oliveira. Next up on the card, we got Julia Palastri versus Karolina Kowalkiewicz. Karolina Kowalkiewicz, she is approaching 40. She's about to turn 40. As of recording this, she's a couple days out from turning 40 years old. This is a tough fight against Julia Palastri. She's young. She's trained very hard. We pull this up here. She's quite a bit more physically imposing. She's got better boxing than Kowalkiewicz, and she's had some submission success earlier in her career. I do think she's the more well-rounded out of the two, and she's going to be able to impose a bit of pressure from the start. Here we go. I've picked Short Nickel, the Aussie boy. Now, I think he's going to find the takedowns in the exchanges with Rocha. He's very scrappy. And if you look back at his last fight, the fight he lost against Aguilar, he just finds random grappling exchanges quite a bit. If Rocha isn't careful and ends up being sort of too close when he's throwing, overextending, Stuart Nickel's going to be on him, straight away. Rocha is quite short for a flyweight, 5'3" versus 5'5". That doesn't sound like a huge difference, but I feel like he might be too small for flyweight, which kind of sucks. But yeah, I think Stuart Nickel's going to go out there and be able to just sort of impose his game plan a bit better than Rocha will. I think he'll find these takedowns in the exchanges with him. He does get hit quite a bit and gets a bit wild, but I don't think that'll be an issue against Rocha. Just because of that size advantage, I think is going to make quite a big difference here. Now, next up, Bia Mesquita versus Irina Alexieva. So Beatriz Mesquita. Now, she has had quite the grappling career before she's coming here. I think she's had a couple matches against Fionn Davis. Very high-level grappler. She's got a few wins against former UFC fighters as well in grappling matches. So very, very high-level grappler. She's physically larger than Irina Alexieva, and Alexieva stands very tall with a very narrow stance, which is very inviting for a takedown from Beatrice. So I think she will probably find a sub at some point throughout this fight. If not, she's just going to have some crazy grappling pressure throughout the duration of that match. Next up, Vitor Petrino versus Thomas Peterson. Now, Vitor Petrino, he is moving up from light heavyweight to heavyweight for this fight. I think he'll be quicker and more athletic of the two. He was very competitive outside the light heavyweight rankings, only really losing to Anthony Smith, which is a tough loss, but I don't think that Thomas Peterson will be able to deal with Petrino's game plan. Very well-rounded, good striking, good grappling, and I see it going his way. Usually we're seeing guys who move up from light heavyweight to heavyweight have quite a bit of success just because they'll be more naturally athletic. Where I believe there are probably a few heavyweights that in the heavyweight division that could be light heavyweights or middleweights, but don't push the conditioning as hard. Maybe they're not. Maybe they don't want to die down for it. So I think he'll have quite a bit of an advantage going into here, and he looks to be in way better shape than Thomas Peterson as well. Next up, now this had trouble loading before. I think it still will. Next up, we have Jafel Filho versus Clayton Carpenter. Now, he was very close to subbing Makaev when they fought. He had a fight against Muhammad Makaev and made it quite competitive. I rate Muhammad Makaev quite highly. I think he, if he was still in the UFC, he would be on top of that division and probably dominate it for quite some time. Clayton Carpenter did have a close loss to Gamrot Ulanbekov recently as well, but I don't rate Ulanbekov and Makaev quite the same way. I think they're both quite good, but I think Makayev kind of has the edge there. Philo will have the home ground advantage, so he'll probably have more people in the crowd cheering for him. Which, since I reckon this will be a low output fight, I don't think they're going to have any crazy exchanges. I think this will be very grappling heavy. And in those sorts of fights, having the crowd cheer as you're advancing position, even if you're not getting too much damage out there, may sway the judges to view the fight going more in your favor. So I think Jafel Filo will end up winning this, either a decision or a sub. We have Lucas Almeida versus Michael Aswell. I've picked Lucas Almeida for this. Michael Aswell has lost 3 out of his last 4. Lucas Almeida had a good fight against Danny Silva. He did end up losing, but I reckon Danny Silva is actually quite good. So, seeing how this plays out, I think Almeida will be a bit of a volume puncher here and be a bit willing to scrap. He's got a little bit more dog in him than Michael Aswell, at least from the outside watching is the impression I get. This could go anyway. Michael Aswell, I think, is the favorite, but I see this going for Lucas Almeida here. Next up, we have Ricardo Ramos versus Khan Offley. Now, Khan Offley has got really, really good pressure, very strong, grindy style, super durable, which I don't think Ricardo Ramos is. So if we get into a firefight, I think Khan Offley will definitely win that exchange. Super high fight IQ, very intelligent style of fighting. We've seen in Tough, he likes to lead the dance, likes to take his guy down and put the pain on him. So I will go with Khan Offley here, and down here I reckon Ramos robbed Kulabau back when they fought, but that is neither here nor there. Next up, Jonata Deniz versus Mario Pinto. Now, this will likely be a striking match. Deniz is heavier with a slight reach advantage, so I think he's probably going to get the exchanges here. He's got a lot tighter striking, so Pinto likes to go a bit wild when he throws with these big shots. I think Deniz will be able to capitalize on that and probably catch him with something tight as Pinto goes for something crazy. So yeah, that's about the analysis on this one. If we have a look at the reach, it's identical. Pinto's a little taller, but I think usually the shorter guy with longer reach is probably the more favorable pick. He's got significantly higher volume. Doesn't take quite as much damage. I think this will definitely go his way here. Next up, we have Vicente Luque versus Joel Alvarez. I've picked Joel Alvarez for this fight. Vicente Luque is awesome, and he's had some really great scraps, but he's had scraps with almost everyone. I think Joel Alvarez, moving up from lightweight, which is a very competitive division, up to welterweight just because he couldn't make the weight anymore, will be favorable for him. I think skill-wise, he's probably better than Luque. He has a reach advantage. I see him getting a finish. Very well-rounded striking, so he will be throwing everything. Kicks, knees, elbows, his hands from different angles. And I think Luque, in his willingness to kind of scrap, may get in trouble here. I could see a finish for Joel Alvarez here. Next up, Davison Figueiredo versus Montel Jackson. Now, it pains me to say this, but I'm picking Montel Jackson over Davison Figueiredo. Big Figueiredo fan back when he was on a tear, but I think Montel Jackson's got him here. He's coming off of a knee injury from the Sandhagen fight. This isn't really an opponent that if he got a win over him, he'd be straight to a title. So I think probably the level of let's go is probably not there. Probably doesn't quite have the same drive for this fight. He's getting older. He's coming off a bad injury with his knee. I think unfortunately, the clock might be running up for him soon here. Montel Jackson also has quite a bit of a height and reach advantage. I think the reach advantage is, where is it? Yeah, like 7 inches. Pulling and countering, which Figueiredo really likes to do, against someone with a 7-inch reach advantage is going to be really, really hard. I think Jackson will probably get the better of these exchanges as long as he can keep his range and not let Figueiredo get inside and crack him. We'll have to see how this plays out, but I definitely see this going Montel Jackson's way. Now, main event of the card, Charles Oliveira versus Mateusz Gamrot. I've picked Charles Oliveira for this one, even though he's just come off of a recent knockout, or getting knocked out recently. And usually that doesn't go quite well. I don't think Gamrot is a massive power puncher, so I think Charles will probably be a bit safer here. Gamrot tends to panic shoot when he gets hurt, so it happened in the Dan Hooker fight, and Dan Hooker had quite a decent guillotine wrapped on him. And look, Dan Hooker's incredible, very, very good fighter, but I think Oliveira's submission game is definitely better. And if Gamrot makes those same mistakes against Oliveira, I think he's in for a lot of trouble. I could see an Oliveira sub happening here. Another thing, Oliveira almost subbed Arman a couple times when they fought. I think if he's able to do that, Gamrot and Arman fought. Neither of them had really got close to subbing each other, so I don't know if that makes a huge difference. But I think Oliveira will probably, wobble Gamrot at some point throughout the fight. Gamrot will panic shoot, and Charles will find the sub from there. Now, finally, this is the total list of picks. This was where Walter Walker was sitting, but that fight didn't happen. Just to recap, we've got Luan Lacerda, Julia Pilastri, Stuart Nickel, Beatriz Mosquito, Vitor Petrino, Jafel Filo, Lucas Almeida, Con Offley, Jonata Deniz, Joel Alvarez, Montel Jackson, and Charles Oliveira. Let us know. What do you think down below? If your picks are different, if you think my picks are terrible, let us know as well. And we'll get more low-quality picks coming out soon.